Well, hello, everyone. This is Tommy at World at War Comics, and today we have another great guest. But before we get into that, please hit that like, hit that subscribe, make sure you hit that ring bell. That way you're notified of all the amazing interviews that we're doing. All right. This episode is brought to you by, you already know it, CN Chili's, the best hot sauce you will ever get. Go to CIENCHILES.com and make sure that you use comics at checkout. You will save 15% off your total order, and you'll get the most amazing hot sauce you've ever had in your life. I promise you. Thai Bird's my personal favorite. The habanero, jalapeno. They even have a mustard seed sauce. Just check it out. You're going to love it. San Diego company. The owner, Maria, is from Guadalajara. She's the most amazing person you'll ever meet. Follow them on all social media. This is also brought to you by Comic Crusaders. It is one of the best places to get reviews on all the new comics, movies, and even music. All right, without further ado, we have Kenric Regan joining the show. He is the writer and creator of a new comic that is currently found in the Kickstarter. I'll put the link in the YouTube bio, but check them out. It is Supernatural Baby Detective. It is a horror noir. You're going to love it. I can't wait for you to hear this interview. Without further ado, here's Kenric and I. Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to World at War Comics podcast. My special guest today is Mr. Kenric Regan. Kenric, thanks for joining, man. It's so awesome to have you. I saw your Kickstarter for Supernatural Baby Detective, and I thought it was awesome. It looks funny. I know there's a little bit of horror to it. Oh, yeah. But, man, I'm so glad that you're on. How are you doing?
Thanks, Tommy. I'm doing great, man.
Yeah.
Working and chilling the old Kickstarter. It's a racking, stressful time.
It really is.
Don't know what's going to happen, and Kickstarters are weird, especially independent comics, because you got to get on that mountaintop and really shout it.
You do.
Very easy to slip through the cracks because there's a lot of great indie. If you're out there and you're into comics, there's a lot of good ones out there.
It really is. Yeah, there's a lot of competition for people's attention, but man, hopefully we could help just a little bit. Maybe one or two backers, people listen to this and say, hey, maybe I'll check it out. And that's the hope of this. But before we get into the Kickstarter, because we will definitely get into the Kickstarter, really, Kenric, just to get to know you a little bit better. I mean, where did comics begin in your life? Was it a long time ago, or I see some boxes back there, so I assume you've been collecting for a little bit.
Yeah. So let's see. I'm 49. I was born in 74. My dad when we'd go to my grandparents' house, and they still had comic books that were my dad, my uncles, and my aunts from 1940s. I didn't know what they were, right? And they just had like a bunch of Disney ones, and there might have been some Supermans or Batmans. I don't remember, but I just remember they're in this old wooden chest in the dining room, and they were all torn up and everything. And I would tear them up because I was 5, I kind of remember that. My first real foray into comic books, though, came at my brother's expense. He started collecting. He's like 5 years older than me. He started collecting quite a bit before me, and I'd sneak into his room and go into the back of his closet. He had boxes like those ones back there.
Yeah.
Would rip them open, go through. I wouldn't put them back in place. And he caught me in there one day. I thought he was going to beat the crap out of me. And to my surprise, he actually started pulling ones out that he knew I would like. And the first pulled out was the Magic miniseries. And I read that and I was hooked. And then I started reading all the X-Men, all the everything Chris Claremont was doing. I was reading. Wolverine quickly became my favorite during that time.
Yeah.
And I really got into Spider-Man. Like Spider-Man is my most read. I was collecting them, Batman, all the standards, all the standards.
Yeah.
And I just read all through the 80s. That was my time frame. I'm used to big, grandiose storylines.
Yeah.
If you read comics from the 80s, they tend to have a lot of text.
Yeah.
Great art, a lot of text as well. And then when I got into the 90s, I graduated high school and I discovered girls, and comic book reading kind of fell off, by the wayside.
Yeah.
And then like 2014, my mom got sick, and I went and stayed with her for a couple months to take care of her, and she's good now. But
good.
Yeah. That was, but she she needed me to be there. I went there in July, thinking I was going to be there for the weekend, ended up being there 6 months
Yeah.
and just helping her out. And, it was my old stomping grounds
Yeah.
and back to the old comic book store. And I was like, oh, and I started like looking at things, and all of a sudden I have like a crap ton of comic books that ever since. And so, yeah. And I've always loved the medium.
Yeah.
I've always loved it. And I've always appreciated the greats, Chris Claremont, Alan, all those guys. I've always loved writing. And yeah. And I've always been a writer by what I always loved doing.
Where did that passion begin, Kenric?
Junior high.
Junior high, yeah.
Yeah, junior high. I had a teacher that would give us art projects. And then she would want us to, she would give us a visual, and then we would have to write something to that visual. Okay. And that was a big one, Mrs. Kraft. And she taught English and math. And that was one of the cool assignments that she did. And I remember we did a thing of Stonehenge, and I wrote a poem about Stonehenge. I don't have it anymore. I don't know where it's at.
Yeah.
But that kind of set me on my path. And then college was good, doing, the fiction classes and all those. I had some really cool teachers that were very, they pushed you along. They were very good. And yeah. And then I started doing a lot of tech stuff.
Yeah.
Got away from it. And then my niece married Johnny Horsley, and he has written comic books. He's done some starters. He's been, he's an artist, but he actually draws and pencils and inks. I don't.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I can't do that kind of stuff. Hence things. But one thing I am good at is coming up with a ton of stories.
Yeah. So
I was like, okay, I got some stories, and started writing some things out. I've written a bunch of books that I have that'll never see the light of day that I've liked. I got plans on putting them out, and this is the first this is the first in the line of 4 that are planned.
Nice. That's awesome. And where did these stories start? Have you been sitting on these stories for a while, or are they fairly new in all the stories that you've kind of developed?
Yeah, this one was so this one, Supernatural Baby Detective, came actually from a podcast.
Nice. That's cool.
Talking with I had a guest on, and we were going over things, and I'm in the bag for any type of, like, I love Hellblazer, I love Hellboy, I love any supernatural kind of noir style detective thing. I'm all about already in, right? It doesn't, and I'll probably like it just because of that genre so much,
right?
And I was like, we're making fun of something. I don't even remember who I was talking to. And I remember I said Supernatural Baby Detective, kind of like when you just words that don't make sense, like, squirrel nut zipper pancakes, right? Makes sense. And I was like, oh, that's hilarious. And then I was like thinking, I'll write this thing towards Look Who's Talking. Like,
oh, that's awesome.
With a supernatural twist. But that's not what came out. And it's been good. It's been good.
And how long did it take you to kind of put the story together once you did come up with the story?
Years.
How long? 2 years.
Yeah, I actually went to Home Depot, and I got like a big Formica slab for $15. Whiteboard, a big whiteboard, like 8-foot whiteboard. It's like $300, and I'm like, I'm not spending $300. So I went there, and I drilled it into the wall of my bedroom, and started just mapping out all my characters, writing out my outline, putting the dots together, how my plot will go. It looks like a thing a detective investigating a murder would go. And and that took me a little while.
Yeah.
Then it was writing out the script, and then I come from the corporate world at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I needed something to write out panels. So I started using PowerPoint.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, I think like you, right? We use PowerPoint quite a bit for work and for presentations. So, I mean, if that's what you're comfortable with, I mean, that's the first time I've heard a writer for comic books use PowerPoint. But hey, whatever works, Kenric, whatever works, man.
Well, and the funny thing is when I sent it to my editor and I sent it to my letterist and they got the PowerPoint, they were like, I don't know why I never thought of using PowerPoint before.
I mean, it's so easy, right?
you set up your page, you make text boxes, you can make those all your panels of how you want everything. And that helped me a lot because I can start visualizing the book in front of me as I go, and I can explain what's happening in each panel and then write my dialogue. And then from there, I put that together into my script. Nice. So I kind of did a little backwards, but it works really well for me.
Yeah, yeah. So, you're building out your story, you got it all written out, you're sending it to the team. Share with us your team, right? So you have an artist, you have a letterer, and is there a colorist too on the team?
I do. So I have Ramses Sandoval. He's out of the Yucatan. He is awesome.
Yeah.
And I put a call to action out on a few different social sites, and I found Facebook. And it's weird when I had to save money to get, because everybody's been paid. I want to, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Paid in this project. So everything that we're doing now is for printing and to hopefully rehabilitate some of the costs that I had out. But I found Ram. I knew when I was working on this that it's very, you could put this in a Magnolia universe.
Mm-hmm.
That this style of storytelling, not that it like anything Magnolia would do. I'm not touting that at all. But I wanted somebody that had a very similar art style, not exactly the same, but not any stretch, but somebody who was in that vein. And Ram, the stuff that he's done and the stuff that he has out there just really fits. He's a huge wrestling nerd. He loves Japanese animation and kawaii. And then you see his work and you're like, this guy can do a little bit of everything. Yeah. And it's great. The colorist is my nephew, Johnny, who read the script, saw the work that Ram was doing, and demanded to be a part of the project. and he's a really good colorist. And he colored my, I did a 3-page story called Nancy Ein's Krampus Killer.
Mm.
And it's in the Ein's anthology, which is available online. You can go to, you can just look it up. And that particular story is actually downloadable.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check it out.
Yeah, we hired Scott Godleski to do the art on that one. Scott is a DC and Image artist, and he's worked on Superman and Batman, and he's done a ton of stuff. He does amazing work.
Yeah. And
so I hired him, and we did this 3-page. Johnny colored it, and he did such a fantastic job coloring it. I was like, I really want you to color it. And he's done a fantastic job.
Wow.
We got Ram, we got Johnny, and then I have a mutual friend that is friends with Richard Starkings. And if you don't know who Richard Starkings is, he is an Eisner Award-winning letterist. He is the letterist of Batman: The Killing Joke.
Wow.
Alan Moore. So him and Alan Moore have.
That's all right. That's all right.
All right. So, got his own book called The Elephant Men. He read the script, said he wanted to work on it.
Nice. That's awesome, man.
We got Richard Starkings and his company Comic Craft doing all the lettering, and they do a fantastic job. Yeah. And so now we're in our 1 week into our Kickstarter. We're a little over the third of the way there. I think we're at like
45%. Just right now. I looked it up. Yeah.
So close to that halfway mark.
I mean, that's pretty good for your first week, right? Did you do a 30-day?
Yeah, we did 30 days. Yeah. I'd be lying if I didn't say I'm not stressed out.
Oh, you have to be stressed. Yeah.
Nervous. Because if we don't make it, then I got to repackage and kind of refigure out how to do this thing. And it's all about marketing at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, I don't think people realize when you create a comic book and you're an indie comic creator and you're trying to self-publish, it's extremely expensive, especially if you're not an artist yourself. So not a lot, but quite a few indie creators, they're also artists. And so they're doing their story and then they're doing all the art. So you're saving some of that cost. Not that it's not still expensive, but like you and I don't have that skill set. We have the story, but you have to hire everybody to do everything else. And it could be anywhere from $3,000 to $7,000 depending on who you hire, right?
Yep. It's expensive. And it's funny too, because you get the right artist, then you don't want to go away. And then if you get ones that are like, well, I'm not a storyteller, but I can draw anything you describe.
Yeah.
And that works if you can, or even better, you get ones that are better storyteller than you and they help you elevate your book to something more.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's the goal, right? Is to find that artist because, you're limited on what you could say in words, and the art really has to help tell some of that story, right?
Yeah. And somebody who's writing, for me, I can be a very much of a control freak, and very open about it, because
Yeah,
I have a very much a vision in my head of how I want this to play out. It's
sure.
4 issues. We're on issue 1. I don't want something to be mistakenly described or changed.
Right.
But you have to be able to say that's just better, and an idiot not to take that direction.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah.
Good.
Through this process, Kenric, can you share with us what the most difficult piece of creating a comic has been for you?
Dialogue.
Dialogue.
Yeah, and it's mostly because I want to explain. Maybe I want to explain too much.
Yeah.
I don't want to say too much, because I tend to write how I talk, and I think of how somebody else talks, and then I tend to put too much of the minutia in, right? The little details that don't need to be as much in there. Let the artist do some of that work, that heavy lifting of explaining what's going on, and going through. So in the narration, even in the narration and everything. But like I said at the beginning, I most of my comic book reading is from the 80s. And they're all very
heavy.
So but I have a good editing team.
Yeah.
And Greg Smith, who has been doing editing books for a long time. Matter of fact, they just got their 6th successful Kickstarter on Starlight with Travis West.
Awesome. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So they're doing really well, and they've done other stuff. So he came on board and has been helping a lot too. So that helped the right people.
Huge.
Yeah. Especially ones that you respect.
Yeah.
That's, change this to this, or think of this. And it's like, okay.
Yeah.
And yeah.
And then, that's the negative side of it, right? But what has been the most fun part of creating a comic book?
It's seeing everything coming in, the anticipation of describing your scenes and having them come in. And one of the most joyous parts is when it's nailed the first time. When it comes in and you open it up and you're like, you want to weep, because you're like, oh my God, this is perfect, or it's better than I ever thought, because they made little tweaks and you're like, oh, this is it. This is what was in my mind. You are reading my mind. And I think that has been really good. And then also the just the feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah.
You're creating something, not just sitting around watching Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Like I'm watching something else that somebody else created, and it's great because geek and a nerd at heart.
Yeah.
But there's things that I want to get out there and show people, and hopefully they'll like it as much as I do.
Yeah. No, it's such a good point. You made a comment that this is a 4-part arc.
Yep.
Right. So we have issue 1, which is the Kickstarter, but everyone should know that there's going to be 3 more issues that will complete the first arc of the story. Is the goal that you're successful in that 4 and you can continue it, or are you going to do 4 and then move on to another title and then start somewhere else?
We'll see. I mean, I have other ideas in the universe and with these characters. So issue 1, issue 2 is already written. It's going to start getting worked up here soon. Issue 3 and 4 are already outlined and ready to go. Just need to write the scripts. And if these take off, I know the first one's going to be hard because it's new people. But if 2, 3, and 4 take off and we do a trade and people like it and they want more, then 100% we'll do more, because there's a lot more to tell. You have other ones that are locked and loaded. So we do want to get on, because we started our own production company called Spoilerverse Comics.
Yeah.
You have other ones in the pipe that we want to get to.
Nice. Now, are you going to be the writer for everything that happens within the Spoilerverse, or do you have like a team of people where other people will come in and write their own comics under that, like a publishing?
Yeah, right now it'll just be me and Bonnie and the work that we're doing, because we both have a ton of stuff. We're working on together. Working title is Capone's Vault.
Nice.
When Geraldo did
I was thinking it, but I didn't want to say anything. But I was thinking in my mind, man, that'd be awesome to have Geraldo in there somewhere. Hope we
Yeah,
don't get sued, but yeah, that would be pretty cool.
we'll change it up a bit, but it's going to be called Capone's
Like
Vault.
Baldo or something, right?
Yeah, and it's about Capone is a demon hunter, and
Nice.
he's not his mob was a persona to give on to the world because he was
Yeah.
demons, and his vault was his prison for these demons.
Yeah.
And the news reporter opens the vault, it released all these demons.
Nice.
So chaos and
Geraldo only found like a beer bottle. You're gonna have demons in yours, right?
yeah. So, but we have a girl that ends up being possessed by a demon, but but for some reason she is more powerful than the demon, and so she's locked that demon inside of her, and she uses its powers to hunt down the other demons because Capone is long dead, right?
Yeah.
This just the setup for
Yeah.
him. So I've organized the story, and then Johnny's actually writing the script on that one,
Nice.
and
Sounds awesome.
yeah, then we'll go from there on that one. But
Yeah.
that'll happen. I mean, if everything happens right with Supernatural Baby Detective, the final issue will be 2026.
Okay.
The time you write, pencils and inks, colors, editing took longer than the actual writing of the actual penciling and inking book.
Yeah.
Took from March until August.
Yeah.
That's the longest. So once we get through that for all three, we got to get through all that. Then we can on to other things. But we'll see. I mean, if this just kind of grabs hold and people want more, it's going to be hard to say no because I do have more to give.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. Well, I mean, that's good that you have more, and the idea is that it will be successful and you'll get to 4, and hopefully people are like, hey man, what's next? And that would be pretty awesome. But I like this Capone's Vault too. It sounds pretty awesome. I'm starting to get this feel that horror is kind of your thing as well.
I grew up Roman Catholic. My mom is very religious. She's a wonderful lady. She gives her the last dollar she has to people. The way she is, and it's like chance after chance after chance. She doesn't do just second chances. She does 20th chances.
Yeah.
And so she's a sweetheart and very much, but she's very religious.
Yeah.
And very rigid in her religion. So I wasn't allowed to watch rated R movies, not with her knowing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I mean, she turned off Goonies when we rented on video. I'd already seen it in the theater, but when we went rented on video, she turned off Goonies, the scene where David and they put the nuts on down.
Yeah.
And she was like, no. But any kind of horror movie or anything, she just, they're all spawns of Satan. So she was not down with that. Yeah. So that actually pushed me in that direction to be very interested in that. I
see what happens, right?
It's more fun, and it's just, I really like it. I for this we have a Cthulhu backdrop, and it's very Lovecraftian in its horror sense, and that's where where kind of feeling to me comes out of it.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Kickstarter. So like we said, you're 45 days in. So you're almost halfway there. You got about, what was it? 20 days left?
21 days?
21 days. Yep. 21 days left. So there's still time. Unfortunately, a lot of people kind of wait and then jump in the last minute. Let's hope that that's the case. That's what happened before with us. I was freaking out, and then last minute, everyone came through. So let's hope that happens for you too. But it's like, I tell everybody, like, I can't tell you how much I appreciate your support. If you could just do it 2 weeks earlier, so my heart will continue to pump at the rate that it's supposed to, because it's extremely stressful.
Dude, it's killing me. You look at it, and I'll go through a day or 2 days with nobody back.
Yeah, I know.
I'll get a jump. I'll get somebody to it'll buy a retailer pack, and I'll see what? Why would what?
Exactly. Yeah. No, it's very stressful. So I mean, the way that it's set up though, the Kickstarter is beautiful. I mean, you have so much great information. Actually, I'm going to take some of your ideas the next time we do it, because you did such a great job on it, especially that front page. I mean, you did such a good job explaining what you're going to do, and then you outlined it. Now that you said that you use PowerPoint a lot, now it's all making sense how it's laid out, because you did a really good job of bullet pointing like certain topics. And
Yeah.
then at the end, I love those pictures of you and your team where it's almost like a baseball card. It has a picture of you and kind of gives an overview of who you are. That's such a great idea.
Oh,
But yeah, I mean, if you go and all you got to do is type in supernatural baby detective and it pops right up.
yep.
Or we'll put the links everywhere. But man, it's really well done. Congratulations, man.
You. That was, what's funny is building the comic book was stressful enough. Building that Kickstarter campaign,
Yeah.
and I was like looking at other people's and I'm like, I don't get this. And then I was doing it. But the one thing, the Kickstarter independent comic community is special.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's competition because you want to do well for yourself, but you want everybody to do well.
100%. Yeah.
When I was like, I needed digital copies because you'll notice that different tiers have different digital rewards.
Yeah.
All these people came and said, here's a copy of my last book digital. Yeah. Sell it with your stuff. No, that's for you. Yeah. And I had like 6 different people do that.
That's so cool.
Stephen Prince with Matador, Monster Matador.
Yeah.
Travis Gibb, Travis Webb, Don Wynn, all these amazing people just came out of the woodwork and were just
so cool.
Boom, boom, boom. Travis Gibb and Travis Webb, the Travises, 2 completely different styles of people, both spent time. Travis Gibb spent 2 hours on the phone with me going detail by detail on the campaign to say, do this, change this, try that. Wow. And then, and then me and Johnny did all the graphics and did everything. Yeah.
Wow. Well, it came out really nice. You have great tiers. So yeah, anybody listening to this, please get over there and check it out. Now let's talk a little bit without giving too much away of the story. Can you give us kind of a little bit of overview of Supernatural Baby Detective as much as you can without, giving away the story, but can you give us an idea of what it's about so people know?
Yep. So this is what I've been telling people, and it's right on the Kickstarter. I'm looking at it right. No, it's right. Perfect. So Frank is he's a down on his luck PI. Man. He's kind of a man he's out of time. He's like in his late 50s, early 60s. He very much he still dresses like he's in the Maltese Falcon or the Big Sleep, right? Humphrey Bogart is obviously a fan of Humphrey Bogart.
Yeah.
He has an assistant named Pearl, who was like a surrogate daughter to him, who taught all of his tricks of the trade too. Excuse me. And he is investigating a series of kidnappings that happen around Easter every year.
Okay.
And so there's otherworldly forces, Cthulhu followers, there's supernatural beings, and a baby all collide into this colossal thing. So really, if you're a fan of Hellboy or Constantine, or you love Guillermo del Toro, the movies the type of storytelling he gives, so probably be right up your alley.
Nice. I love it. Yeah. Well, it sounds awesome. I'm hoping that everybody that's listening to this will head over to Kickstarter and check it out. Like I said, you got about 21 days to back it. The great thing about Kickstarter, and I always tell everybody, is even if you're not sure, just go ahead and back it. You could always change your mind later. The great thing about Kickstarter is they don't take any money until you hit your goal and the time is out. So that's why I said, get in there, back early. You're going to be happy with this comic book. I promise. It looks awesome. You were kind enough to send me a version of it, which I will check out, but just the art looks amazing. And the storyline, it sounds pretty funny and pretty awesome at the same time.
What do you think of the cover?
The cover's great. I like that cover. Yeah. With the demon, with the baby.
Yeah. So it's
the baby
holding the baby. Yeah. That guy, the guy that drew that. So Johnny colors on it, which I thought he did a great job. Yeah. And the guy who drew, his name is Aladdin Al-Amani, Cairo, Egypt.
Oh, and wow.
He had never heard of Cthulhu, which I thought I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh, it's H.P. Lovecraft. 1920, never heard of him at all. And but yeah, he did some research and
came out nice.
And then we have an alternate cover that Ram, our artist throughout the whole book, did.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you know Iron Maiden's album Killers. It's like
Oh yeah, Iron Maiden, yeah.
yeah. So their first out. So he goes, well, what's
Uh
cover? And I said, look at this from Iron Maiden. And he was like, oh, and that's his homage to that. And he
yeah.
like an EC horror comic
Yeah.
vibe in the 50s.
Yep.
And so yeah, so his cover is the Easter Bunny, who is one of our
Yeah.
agonists. And it's a guy that has gone insane and he wears an Easter Bunny outfit and he's napping.
It's a pretty freaky cover. I did see that too, and it's you'll look at it and you'll like, okay, some kind of mass murder, something's going on here, man. Like that's the first thing that came to my mind is this guy's killing, and whoever's behind that mask is killing everybody.
And it's kind of funny too because I wanted an Easter bunny. I wanted the Easter bunny in this,
Yeah.
but Easter bunny. I wanted somebody wearing, and I wanted that classic
Yeah.
1980. I mean, because we're around the same age, so
Yep.
you know, classic 80s plastic
Oh
bunny.
yeah.
You know, and that's really what that is. And so we were like, okay, let's do this, and then
Yeah.
it just came out so cool, and it
Yeah.
looked it's weird and it's freaky and it's yeah.
It's awesome. It's great. It's great. I did choose the other one though, just because it just I don't know, it makes you think a lot. And when you kind of were telling me about the story, I checked it out. But the other one is awesome too. So you have two covers on this one,
That's right.
like an A and a B.
Yep.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's good.
Is the normal cover, which is Cthulhu holding the baby.
Yep.
Wearing a fedora. You can actually get a lot of the story from that cover.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, cover B is Rams. We were thinking about using Rams cover as the main cover.
Yeah.
But his cover, even though it has everything in it and could be the main cover, everything about it hits a variant. It's got a
It
different
does. Yeah.
color scheme. It doesn't use our logo. You know what I mean? It has an homage. It has two homages. It's got the East Horror homage and the Iron Maiden Killers album homage. So it's good. I think
It's
we did
very good. It's very good. Yeah. No, I would agree with you. I would have thought that was the variant anyways.
Yeah.
So but yeah, that's awesome, man. I mean, it's great. Check it out. Two covers. And man, there's all kinds of really good deals in there. I saw that you have a lapel pin too.
Yep. The
Which
deep
is
one.
pretty cool.
You know, the funny thing with that pin is I thought I was being original. Like
Yeah.
I didn't know a lot of different I mean, I've backed like 40 different Kickstarters, but
Yeah.
none of the Kickstarters I backed have ever had this pin. Let me see if I can get it to come in focus.
Yeah. Right there. Yeah. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's hard to
That's
come.
pretty. There it is. Yeah.
And
That's
I didn't see anybody with the thing, and I'm like, and I saw pins online. I'm like, I'm gonna do a custom pin, and I found this company, and I didn't use a company. I used a company no one else uses, and then I got all these pins in the mail, and I'm like, oh my god, look at these! And then I saw like every Kickstarter I looked at after that has pins. I'm like, are you kidding?
Actually, I'll be honest. I've backed quite a few like you. I've never received a pin. I've received buttons. Like this one, I backed a War Lion, which is really good actually. And so I get like pins like this, or not pins, but like buttons like this, which are pretty cool. But I've never received a pin.
Yeah,
and the pins are awesome. I have so many lapel pins, and I love them. Anytime I get one, I get pretty excited. I have like a little jar where they're all at. I don't know what I'm going to do with them, but I collect them. I just love them.
we're gonna do a pin for every issue now.
Oh, that's so cool.
One,
Love that idea.
next will be, well, once you read that, I'll tell you what the next one is.
Okay, yeah, perfect.
That makes sense. Yeah, and
That's awesome.
And then the third and fourth one will probably be Alice and Pearl, but beat Alice later.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, Kenric, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you coming on the show today. It was amazing meeting you. I know we had a really good conversation before we even hit the record button, which is always good. You want to kind of get to know people, but man, I'm a fan. I hope we could do this again too when you get to issue 2 or something like that. But man, anybody listening, please go to Kickstarter, look up Supernatural Baby Detective. It's right there. We'll also put the link everywhere. And we'll blast this out to all of our social media. But man, it was so fun meeting you, and can't wait to do it again, my friend.
Thanks, Tommy. I really appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, you bet. What's that?
SBDcomic.com.
SBDcomic.com. Yep. Awesome, man. Well, I really appreciate you, Kenric. Have a great rest of your night. It's pretty late. But man, we'll have a good weekend too, okay?
Thanks.
All
Thanks.
right, talk soon.